You are listening to The Thought Leaders Show with the world's cutting-edge, hottest innovators, influencers, and impact makers today. If you are looking for inspiration and motivation, listen in. Welcome to The Thought Leaders Show. Now, here's your host.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, John Rankins. John is the International Bestselling Author of the Life Mastery Playbook, founder of the Revolution Mastermind, and President of Optimo International. Known for his entrepreneurial focus on sales and leadership training, John's mission to develop leaders and change lives is the reason he's one of the most sought-after business trainers alive today. His sales and training expertise has built more than 2,000 people's businesses over the last 25 years, with businesses generating more than $100 million in revenue in the last 5 years alone. He has trained more than 10,000 people in sales and leadership and has a massive sales force of 4,000 people all over Southeast Asia. His world-class programs transform people's lives, both personally and professionally, doubling sales in more than 20 companies in less than 90 days in the last 2 years. Welcome, John Rankins.
Great to be here.
John,
Thank you.
I'm really excited to talk to you today. And first of all, tell me a little bit more about what you call the Ultimate Business Revolution Program.
It's a revolutionary program that revolutionizes business. I mean, it takes a business from wherever it's at right now, and it focuses on totally transforming it, revolutionizing it to double its size and scale it.
So how does that work exactly? Who do you work with?
So ultimately, I work with entrepreneurs, business people, whether they're a new entrepreneur just starting out or they're a business that's been in business for 10, 20, 30 years. I can take their business and implement my system called STARS, which is how you create stars in your business to transform and scale your business.
So can you describe STARS a little bit more? Is STARS an acronym?
STARS is actually an acronym. When we talk about creating stars in your business, first of all, you have to have systems. Systems create reliability and predictability in what you're doing. The second thing is training. So training needs to be happening all the time with your people so that they are constantly learning and growing and innovating the business. The third thing is accountability. Without accountability and a system of accountability that happens without you there, then you're constantly having to monitor or waste time managing people that you don't need to as long as you have the systems. The third thing is relationships. And the relationships that you build with the people within your company is going to determine whether or not you continue to grow long term. And then finally, most importantly, is synergy. Having all those things work together with a team of people that are working in unison to grow the company, that's the key to revolutionizing any business on the planet. And in order to do that, when I teach this system, I explain it's all about connecting the dots. Steve Jobs talked about it's easy to connect the dots moving backwards. It's not so easy to connect them moving forward. But ultimately, imagine what it would be like if you had a system where you could connect the dots moving forward, not just backward. Imagine if you knew the strategies and the working habits of the most successful business leaders in the world, people like Jack Welch, people like Sam Walton from Walmart, people like Robert Kiyosaki. I've ultimately created this program with the most successful business leaders of the world so that you can implement it into your business. And imagine having their systems and strategies in place in your company so that you can scale your business. But so if you can connect all of those dots, which is what we do when we implement this system in companies, and a lot of them are easily able to scale their business in less than 90 days to double sales, to double profit. And it's all about creating stars in the business. And that's what the ultimate business revolution is all about.
So it really starts, like you said, with systems in place, because most entrepreneurs in their mind, they're like, okay, all I know is that I don't want to work for someone else and I don't want to have a job. And I always spell job out because to me, it's almost like a dirty word and I can't even say it anymore. So when people use your ultimate business revolution system, what are some of the transformations that you've seen?
Oh, they're unbelievable. I worked with a guy named Jim, and he built his business. We took his business, Ad Crimson. Within a period of 6 months, we grew it to 462%. Because here's what I do know. I've been working with entrepreneurs for 25 years, and most of them are broke. Most of them work all the time, 16, 18 hours a day, and they're lucky if they even make money. The true facts about business and small business owners is after 5 years, they say 88% or 90%, there's different surveys out there, they actually go out of business within 2 to 5 years. But the truth is, that's how many go out of business. The remainder don't even make money. Less than 10% of what's left over even make any money. And the reason why is businesses fail because either it's lack of leadership or lack of systems. And if you don't have systems, training, accountability, relationships, and synergy, then you're in for a lot of pain.
I think you're right, because I know that I'm lucky. I've actually been in business about 7 or 8 years, but believe me, I didn't have any systems or training or accountability or relationships or synergy in the beginning, and my learning curve to even start making money was very, very long. And when you start working with someone, you actually can cut that learning curve by years into months. So what would you say are some of the biggest problems that people are starting out with beyond the fact that they don't have any systems? How do you work with them to get them rolling in the right direction with such stellar results?
Well, first and foremost, I do a lot of listening. I find out, number one, what do they want? What do they want for their business? Number one. Two, what are their goals, their vision, their mission? Who are their players? Who are the people involved with what they're doing? I don't work with many solopreneurs. I work with companies that have, 10 to 20 to 1,000 people. And as long as they've got a team, we can evaluate whatever it is they're doing. We can look at what they're doing, implement systems, training, put together an accountability session, and then look at the relationships. Can the owner of the business or the owners, can they provide enough opportunity to sustain those people that are involved? And do they have synergy all working together? Now, that's just the beginning, because ultimately, all businesses still have to have a core. And the core is just another acronym for what I call the Code of Honor, which is from Blair Singer, Robert Kiyosaki's number one advisor, or one of the Rich Dad advisors that created Sales Dogs. You know, I train with Blair all over the world. And if you have a code of honor where everybody holds each other accountable and respects one another, the business moves forward. But the second thing is having the opportunity, especially for like millennials. The millennials, they want to know that they're a part of something bigger than themselves, and or they want to at least know that one day they could run their own business. So if there's enough opportunity for them to stick around, or for you, like what I do in my company is I give 10% back to everybody in my company. So they have their skin in the game. And with their skin in the game, with that opportunity, they treat the company as if it's already theirs. The next thing is the results, because you need to provide results for your customers, your clients, and your people. This is all building the core. And finally is excellence, because mediocrity does not exist in companies anymore. People can do business. People can go online. They can order something tonight and receive it in the morning. And this is all about excellence. So every organization that wants to grow has to subscribe to having a core, and they have to create stars, but they have to have systems to do it. That's what the Ultimate Business Revolution does. And I've done it with thousands of entrepreneurs. I currently have over 4,000 people using these systems to run profitable businesses.
And the word profitable is, I think, the key word that everyone is really interested in. So when you train these people, are your programs in person, online? I know that you've written the Life Mastery Playbook. So can you talk a little bit about how you work with people, and more about your Life Mastery Playbook?
Yeah, now I work with one-on-many. So if I work with the company, I go in there direct and I do the training, me. And it doesn't matter if it's 10 people or 10,000 people or 1,000 people. I train people in a classroom of 10. I train people in, a setting of 10,000 people. And the way I do it, and the most effective way to do it, is for me to go in there and work with them to find out everyone's concerns and everyone's goals beforehand. And then once I do go in, I get a gist of what the CEO or the entrepreneur or the company wants. And then I just lay out the systems and let them discover what it is that they need to do. Anybody that says that they can come in from the outside and solve everybody's problem is probably not telling the truth. The truth is, people know what to do. People have an innate ability to know what's going on. A lot of them are just afraid to speak up. And once we create synergy, a code of honor, and start implementing systems, this is where the transformation, the magic really happens.
I like that. You mentioned that in your companies, you give back, so the 10%, so that everybody becomes part of the company. They're working in their company instead of just working for a paycheck or something. It's actually, they, like you said, have accountability and skin in the game. I really like that. What do you think when you're working with companies, what do you think is the biggest issue about why they wouldn't work with someone who can come in with the Ultimate Business Revolution program and a STARS system, your STARS system?
Well, I think traditional companies' management systems come from that corporate environment, or that environment from people who go to college to manage and talk about how to manage and control people rather than give them freedom. And the corporate structure is all about, people getting recognition so they can move up the ladder. But ultimately, it doesn't always mean that they're doing the right thing. So if you look at businesses, imagine if you, even running your business, if everyone's got your back and everyone's got their skin in the game and everyone profits from every single deal that's happening in your company, do you think they care?
I would think so. If they've got, like you said, skin in the game.
Absolutely. If they have their skin in the game, if they have a voice, do you think they feel respected? Do you think they're going to go to the extra mile?
I would.
Yeah, just like you said, JOB means just over broke. No one wants to be broke. No one wants to be a part of a company where they're told what to do all the time. There's no creativity. And what is creativity? Creativity is like intelligence having fun.
Exactly.
How many people, embrace that and create that environment within their company?
Well, I know the companies I worked for didn't, and that's why I'm an entrepreneur. And actually, I'm trying to create exactly the type of environment that you're talking about, one that's fun and that people feel created and that they have that value, because it's so important in our lives that we feel valued and able to be creative at the same time. Can you tell me a little bit more about a recent adventure you had? You climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, is that correct?
Yeah, that was an amazing adventure. I did that with Blair Singer, Robert Kiyosaki's best friend and advisor, and it was an amazing journey.
And you also spoke recently at the Harvard Faculty Club. You were part of the thought leaders at the Business Expert Forum, and you received a standing ovation because, believe me, I was there, and it was when you described what you'd been through and climbing that mountain, and then you also shared an image, and I'd like you to tell a little bit more about that, if you would.
Yeah, well, I've done business for 25 years, and I've created thousands of entrepreneurs, and that's been my life's work, and I love doing it. And I've been in Southeast Asia, working in 7 different countries, and so when I got invited to Harvard and went just to be a part of that, and you were there, and it was a tremendous honor because I grew up in poverty with a single mom. And, my number one motivation for being an entrepreneur and developing entrepreneurs is because I hated poverty. And as a child, I always wanted to go to college because I thought that was the ticket. That was my ticket out of poverty. And that's how I could make a difference and support my mom and achieve the goals to support her. And along the way, that's, to go to Harvard and be recognized and awarded by such an elite group of people for my accomplishments I thought was, probably going to be one of the pinnacles of success in my life. But ultimately, before I went there, I had already planned on climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the tallest single standing mountain in the world. And it takes you 7 days to climb the mountain because the altitude is extremely challenging. And I myself have type 1 diabetes. And what we didn't know before I went on the mountain is that altitude actually affects blood sugar levels. And 2 days before climbing that mountain, I found out that I was going to be a father. And that's the greatest news I've ever received in my life. So when I went to Harvard, I just reflected, and I was supposed to talk about business and the ultimate business revolution and training entrepreneurs. But ultimately, no matter what happened, I thought that the best thing I could ever do was talk about life lessons that I could share with my unborn child. Because the truth is, I never got to go to college, and I was invited to Harvard. It's amazing. But what's more amazing than that is to leave a lesson and to learn lesson myself. And so what I talked about at Harvard was the fact that life is not fair. I've had challenges all my life, and a lot of them haven't been fair. The second thing is, life will knock you down. Even though I became a millionaire, I lost everything several times. I did get to buy my mom that house, though, before it happened. And I remember when I went back to Indonesia, I'd already picked out the land for my own home in this beautiful place in La Cresta, California. It was overlooking a valley and a lake. And when I got back there, to cut a long story short, I discovered that the director of my company had stolen everything. I'd lost it all. I had to leave that country on a boat just to go under the radar to another island and to Singapore and set up a new company because I was blacklisted in that country. I was able to go back and rebuild the company and make money again. That's why life's not fair. Life will knock you down. But at the end of the day, life is beautiful. And that taught me some of the greatest lessons of my life. It's not what happens to you that matters, it's what you do about it. And the measure of a man is not determined by his attitude when he's on top of the world and everything is great. It's determined by how you can rebound and recreate when things aren't going good, and how to have a great attitude and start over. And that's what I was able to do. And that's why I know life is beautiful. And that's what I talked about in Harvard. And I got to show my baby, and I got to show them that, regardless of all that struggle and everything that happened, regardless of what happened on Kilimanjaro, regardless of receiving the award at Harvard, the most important thing was that I recognized life is beautiful and that I'm having a baby and I get to celebrate that. So I don't know if I'm selling my program right now, but to me, things are more important than just selling people on a program. I do change people's lives. I teach them how to run profitable businesses. But yeah, that was a magical experience for me. Thanks for asking.
Well, it was a magical experience for everyone who was there. And literally, when you held up the photograph of your baby, you know, it was I guess the ultrasound photo, people genuinely were in the moment. They were in the now, and they were there, and they felt it, and they wanted to support you, and they all jumped up, and it was a real emotional standing ovation, and I still can feel it. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about the power of your message, that life is beautiful. And again, we could talk all day long. You know, you are an international best-selling author in the Thought Leaders book, Business Expert Forum at Harvard Faculty Club. You have the Life Mastery Playbook, and we could probably go on and on about all of the accolades with the STARS systems, for the systems, training, accountability, results, and synergy, and your core program. But if somebody wants to talk to you, I know that you have a big mission beyond the training, helping children in the Philippines. If you could expand on that and tell us about that, and then tell us where we can find out more about you, I'd really appreciate that.
Well, the campaign that I've created is called 1,000 Smiles. And if you go to johnrankins.com, you can see I got the opportunity to meet an unbelievable girl. Her name is Angel, about 7 years ago, and she had cleft palate and cleft lip. And so her mouth, her face was completely mangled. And they did a campaign with her in the Philippines, and I had the opportunity to contribute. And I met Angel, and she changed my life. I always call her a little thief because she literally just stole my heart when I saw her interact with absolutely nothing in her life. And actually, she was a beggar on the street, giving whatever she had to someone else just to create a smile. And it brought me to tears and made me appreciate how much that I have in my life and how grateful I am. And so I was able to adopt her and bring her into my life and support her. I mean, I didn't take her away from her family. She stays with her grandmother still, but I get to see her. And so we created a campaign called 1,000 Smiles. So I want to make a difference with 1,000 children. Right now, I believe I'm at 121 children that we pay for their surgery, and all the programs that I sell online on my website, johnrankins.com, or my Life Mastery Playbook, is all of it. 100% of the proceeds, all of it goes to these children and their surgeries, and doctors have volunteered their time. I pay for all of the anesthetics and the equipment and all of that to pay for these 1,000 Smiles. So it's really dear to my heart, and you can see that online on my website, and you can give directly or whatever you want to avail of on my site. It's all 100% goes to them, and that's my cause. And I live in the Philippines, so this is my community, and I believe in giving back to where you live and what's your community, and this is dear to my heart. So that's what that's all about.
Well, John, that is phenomenal, and everyone definitely go to John Rankins with an S.com, and you'll see everything that John is doing. And there is a beautiful video of Angel and showing her before she had the surgery to repair her smile, but she truly, what I did notice when I watched the video was her name is certainly the proper one for her, because she just kept giving and giving and giving with a big smile on her face, even though she didn't have, the cleft or the palate and everything. And it was just a beautiful video showing her giving to this beggar in the streets, and it's very emotional. So I can understand why you would want to help these children. So John, before I let you go, is there anything else that maybe I forgot to ask you about that you would like to add?
Anybody and everybody that takes the risk to run their own business and is willing to break through that fear as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I can tell you, I've been there. I've made money. I've lost money. I've struggled, and I can tell you that I also cracked the code. I'm a money generating guy. And I believe that, if you've got if you have the courage or you ran a business, you deserve to be successful and you deserve to be profitable. And if you really want to be profitable, all you need is stars. All you need is systems, training, accountability, relationships, and synergy, and you can run a successful business. I know it. I've implemented this in so many countries around the world. If it works for them, it'll work for you.
This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to the Thought Leaders Show. To get all past shows and to get all future shows, go to thoughtleadersshow.com.